wasted career. Paul Mcgrath, one of football's most gifted defenders, had everything needed for legendary status. The man they called God at Aston Villa and the Black Pearl of Inchicore and Tamins in Ireland possessed sublime talent that bordered on the clairvoyant. Yet his genius existed alongside a chaos that threatened to consume him at every turn. Born in London to an Irish mother and Nigerian father who disappeared shortly after conception, Mcgrath's troubles began early. His mother returned to the 1950s Ireland, where societal stigma was immense. At just 4 weeks old, Mcgrath was forcibly removed from his mother's care by Catholic Crusade members. For the next 13 years, he was shuttled between institutions, enduring racism, isolation, and the psychological cruelty of being told you are only here because nobody else wants you. These wounds ran deep. Around age 19, shortly after leaving care, Mcgrath suffered what was described as a catastrophic mental breakdown. He spent an entire year in St. John of God Psychiatric Hospital, in a trance-like state, unspeaking, incontinent, and covered in bed sores. Doctors feared he might never walk again. Yet somehow, he emerged from this darkness to become a footballer of extraordinary ability. Signed by Ron Atkinson for Manchester United in 1982 from St Patrick's Athletic, Mcgrath quickly established himself, playing a pivotal role in their 1985 FA Cup victory over Everton. His man-of-the-match performance came despite teammate Kevin Moran's red card, the first ever in an FA Cup final. But even in triumph, Mcgrath felt like an outsider. He later recalled feeling detached during the celebrations, like he was gate-crashing someone else's party, wishing it would end so he could retreat. This disconnect between his public success and private torment would define his career. At United, Mcgrath's problems intensified. The club's drinking culture provided fertile ground for his developing alcoholism. Regular, heavy sessions with teammates like Norman Whiteside and Brian Robson often started after Tuesday training and continued into Wednesday morning. Meanwhile, his body was already betraying him. He suffered the first of 8 knee operations while at Old Trafford. The arrival of Alex Ferguson as manager in 1986 marked the beginning of the end for Mcgrath at United. Ferguson was determined to eradicate the drinking culture, demanding absolute discipline. Mcgrath's lifestyle inevitably clashed with these expectations. The relationship deteriorated rapidly, with Mcgrath finding Ferguson's style cold, autocratic, while Ferguson felt he wasn't reaching the troubled defender. By 1989, Ferguson had concluded Mcgrath had to leave. In an extraordinary move, United offered the 29-year-old £100,000 to retire from football altogether, perhaps fearing his talent could benefit a rival. Mcgrath initially agreed, but later defiantly refused, stating, "To be honest, I still want to play football. I know I can, and I just want to play. They could throw me out of the club, but there was no way I was quitting the game." His transfer to Aston Villa for £400,000 in summer 1989 should have been a fresh start. Instead, it initially plunged Mcgrath deeper into darkness. In November 1989, overwhelmed by change and his internal struggles, he attempted suicide. He returned to play against Everton soon after, concealing the wounds on his wrists with bandages. Manager Graham Taylor witnessed Mcgrath playing drunk during an early match against QPR, leading him to wonder, "Fuck's sake, have I got a problem here?" What followed, however, was a remarkable renaissance. Unlike Ferguson's rigid disciplinary stance, Taylor adopted a compassionate approach. He recognised Mcgrath needed help, not hammering. Taylor gave Mcgrath his home number and even offered refuge if things became overwhelming. Mcgrath felt he could talk to Taylor on a level previously unknown in football, stating Taylor literally rescued me. Equally crucial was physio Jim Walker's management of Mcgrath's chronic knee problems. Walker devised a minimal training regime, just 10 minutes on an exercise bike each morning, light weightlifting, and hydrotherapy, often instead of conventional team training. Mcgrath unequivocally credited Walker with extending his career. "No question about it, Jim Walker. He was brilliant for me and was responsible for me playing as long as I did." This tailored support allowed Mcgrath's exceptional talent to flourish. He became adored at Villa Park, nicknamed God by fans. The pinnacle came in 1992 to 93, when he was voted PFA Players' Player of the Year, a rare honour for a defender. Villa finished runners-up in the inaugural Premier League season, and Mcgrath would win 2 League Cups with the club. Yet his problems never disappeared. Alcoholism remained a constant battle. The knee pain was ever present, described as bone grinding against bone. Ron Atkinson, who succeeded Taylor, marvelled at Mcgrath's ability to perform with such limited preparation. This is not possible. What Mcgrath is doing is just not possible. For Ireland, Mcgrath became an icon during their golden era under Jack Charlton. His most legendary performance came at the 1994 World Cup against Italy, where despite carrying significant injuries, he delivered a defensive masterclass. Ireland secured a famous 1-0 victory, cementing Mcgrath's place in Irish sporting folklore. Charlton managed Mcgrath's complex situation with pragmatism, sometimes assigning minders to sit outside his hotel room during team trips to prevent him from drinking. Mcgrath recalled watching teammates leave for nights out with tears streaming down the eyes. After retiring around 1998 following brief spells at Derby County and Sheffield United, Mcgrath's struggles continued. In 2013, he was arrested following a drunken outburst at a hotel wedding. The court heard of his 5 previous convictions, including public order offences and drink driving. The judge acknowledged Mcgrath's status as a national hero and ordered him to provide football coaching to children as community service rather than imposing a conviction. One positive development in Mcgrath's post-playing life was reconciliation with Ferguson. After Aston Villa defeated United in the 1994 League Cup final, Ferguson approached Mcgrath, shaking his hand and saying, "Well done, big man," a gesture Mcgrath deeply appreciated. Later, Ferguson offered him work at Manchester United, inviting him to mingle with guests on match days, a move Mcgrath saw as proof of Ferguson being a decent man and brilliant to me. What makes Mcgrath's story particularly remarkable is how he managed to perform at world-class level, despite minimal conventional training. His severe knee problems meant he often couldn't train with the team. Some days, his training consisted merely of a bath. He relied on painkillers and anti-inflammatory drugs to manage the constant pain, particularly around match days. That he could excel under these physical limitations is testament to his natural talent and football intelligence. His right knee suffered the most damage, with multiple arthroscopies, 2 major operations, and eventually the complete removal of the meniscus. This led to bone grinding directly against bone. The fact that Mcgrath played in all 42 league matches during one season despite this condition is simply astonishing. The physical pain was matched by emotional torment. Mcgrath openly admitted playing while drunk on occasion, feeling he was letting teammates down. In one moment of profound despair after retirement, he even consumed household bleach. His life story reveals that the outward appearance of sporting success can mask profound inner turmoil. Paul Mcgrath's legacy transcends sport. His story is fundamentally one of resilience, a testament to human capacity to survive against overwhelming odds. He navigated elite football while simultaneously fighting debilitating injuries, chronic alcoholism, depression, and childhood trauma. That he achieved such heights under these circumstances makes his career not just successful, but near miraculous. His autobiography, Back from the Brink, provided a harrowing account of his struggles and helped challenge the stigma surrounding mental health and addiction in professional football. By sharing his experiences with unflinching honesty, Mcgrath offered hope to others facing similar battles, bringing invisible wounds into the light and demonstrating that vulnerability and strength can coexist. In later years, Mcgrath described himself as having been roughly functional since 2014, though still occasionally consuming alcohol. His journey, marked by incredible highs achieved during profound lows, serves as a powerful, complex narrative of survival, resilience, and the fragile balance between genius and self-destruction. If you found this story shocking, hit the like button. More unbelievable football truths coming soon.